Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So it's time to give you a little bit of a mini review for the Moto E5 Plus. Now, I think I've had this thing for about 3 weeks. I'm not sure. I'm not really keeping track. I just know that I really like it. So a couple of things I want to talk about in this video is the battery, the price, the screen, the performance, things like that. So let's get into it and let's start with price. Now, the price of this phone is actually only $225. I shouldn't say only, but it's only 225 bucks on T-Mobile. That's the variant I have. Remember, I specifically told you why I went with the T-Mobile version. Check out my other videos if you haven't seen them yet. I've got a lot of videos up on this already. But this model that T-Mobile sells is $225. And honestly, folks, it is a decent price for what you're getting. It is a stock Android phone. It offers enough for the $225 to keep me interested. Like if I were to take my SIM card out of this sometimes like I do and put it in something else, I start to think about, oh man, I need to, get, so I end up putting it back in here. So for me, I wish the price was about $179 or so. But if you ask why I say that, well, the $225 price is really close to other phones that I have that offer a little bit more, actually a lot more in some areas. So the $225, while it's not the worst price for a carrier device, this $225 for what you're getting in this phone is actually pretty decent. I hope that they drop the price to about $179 or so, because I think that's a pretty decent price for this phone. Now, one of the more important parts of having a smartphone is functionality. So this phone has the Moto gestures that we all love, where you can twist and turn the camera on and things like that. It's actually pretty decent. It lights up when you get notifications. It's really, really nice. More importantly, the software functions great. I haven't had any problems with lag or stutter, anything with this phone. And this phone is running the Snapdragon 435. Now that is a very efficient processor. This phone does have 3 gigs of RAM. So that combination has proven to me that it's worthy of a title of a solid performing device. Stock Android, like I said, I don't know if it's going to get any updates, but honestly, I have phones that don't have updates and I don't really care. As long as the phone is working. I mean, I would like updates, but if a phone is not getting updates but it's still performing like new, I'm okay with that. So for now, the performance on this phone is actually pretty decent. I don't have any complaints at this point. I really like it. The software is optimized just right, and I think it's a good look from Motorola/Lenovo. So you can't talk about the software without looking at the hardware, because that is what we see when we look at our phone. We're just like, we're looking at it. We see the phone. So this beautiful big screen on the front is 6 inches, and it is a 720p display. But I know everyone who has this phone, they've made it a point to say this is one of the better looking 720p displays. I mean, it is really, really nice. And I don't think I would have it any other way when it comes to a 18:9 ratio. I would rather have a great looking 720p display than a horrible looking 1080p display. Make sense? I think so. Now, aside from the screen being beautiful and big, the hardware itself, I already explained why I went with the T-Mobile version. It was this color. I really wanted this color, and I think it's really nice. But aside from that, the fingerprint reader is set up just right. I like the way the camera looks. It's got a headphone jack. The microphone and audio for recording is actually really, really strong. But I do not like the micro USB cable on the bottom. I just don't like it. Even though it has fast charging, and I do have a fast charger. It comes with a, I think it comes with a fast, I'm not sure, but I have a fast charger that I use. Because the one in the box, I don't even take those out, to be honest. I just use my fast charger that I have continuously plugged in. And it charges pretty fast. Within a couple hours, you'll be able to get a nice juice out of that 5,000 milliamp hour battery and be back to 100. But overall, like I just mentioned, that 5,000 milliamp hour battery inside is actually pretty strong. It's good cameras on here. The hardware, the setup, the look, the feel, it's pretty decent. It does stay in a case pretty much in most cases, but but I wear it around the house naked like this because I like to feel the device. The hardware on this thing is pretty decent. It is a slippery phone. Now let's not just talk about the micro USB. This is a slippery phone, so you're gonna need a skin, a case, something if you're an accident prone person. But the hardware is pretty good. Now I just touched on the battery, which is 5,000 milliamps. I've gotten consistently 8 hours of battery life out of this phone every time. So you can go a couple days with this phone. Now Motorola guarantees you a day and a half of power, and you'll definitely get a day and a half of power. Even if you're a power user, you should still get at least a day. And if you do try to hammer it down hard in one day, I don't think a person can really kill this battery too fast. It's possible, but the most I've gotten out of this thing is 8 hours of screen on time on every charge, and it lasts me at least a day or day and a half. So battery life, you don't have to worry about that. Now let's talk about cameras. The cameras on this thing have been nothing short of impressive. They are, while not the best and fantastic, spectacular, knock your socks off cameras, they will do. They'll be very impressive, especially for people who like to record video. The rear video camera does 1080p and the front does as well, but the quality is what's important. The microphones on this thing are stellar. They're really good. And I constantly talk about video recording when I'm doing videos on phones, when I talk about the cameras, because I don't take that many pictures. I might post some every now and then on Instagram or Twitter. You can find me. I might have it posted on the bottom, Mr. J. Williams. However, video is what's important to me, because if my DSLR were to go down, I'm going to start shuffling through, or I just don't have it with me. I'm going to start shuffling through trying to find a phone that I can record with on the go. And if your phone in your hand doesn't have a good camera to match that great battery, I don't know. I really would like to have a great camera. And while this doesn't do 4K or 1080p at 60 FPS, the 1080p is superb and audio quality is great. So for now, I think this phone is a win. I mean, again, this is just a mini review for, you know, the short time that I've had the phone. But I've compared it next to other phones. I kind of see myself falling back to this phone because I've been using my Galaxy Note and my Asus Zenfone 5 and my Mi A2, but my SIM card is back in this phone. Something about it, I don't know what it is. The setup, sometimes on a phone, a setup can really draw you in. This doesn't have the best hardware. It doesn't have the best screen. It doesn't have the best camera. There really is no best. But I can tell you that it's a nice phone, and I've gotten attached to it and drawn to it. So, and I'm not saying that it's better than the other phones that I just named. I'm just saying some phones, if you have a lot of phones, you know what I'm talking about, it'll draw you in every now and then when you're using another phone. So you're like, oh, I gotta put my SIM card back in that phone. I miss the way that phone does this, or I miss the way that phone does that. And that's something that I found to be important to me. So the Moto E5 Plus, it's a win-win to me for now. If things go wrong, or things start to shut off, or I find a bunch of things that I don't like besides the micro USB and the slippery build quality, you know, I'll point it out to you. But for now, those are the few things that I found that they kind of annoy me a little bit, but not to the point where I'm saying, oh, I got to sell this phone and get rid of it. I really like this phone, and it looks are important to me when it comes to a cell phone, because obviously I'm looking at it over and over again. So I want it to be nice looking. But you know, battery, camera, performance, those things are all important or those things should be important to you when you're buying your smartphone. So mini review from the Moto E5 Plus on T-Mobile, or just the Moto E5 Plus period. It's a win-win right now. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.